All right, Chair recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. The government of the District of Columbia, under the leadership sitting in front of us today, has become a poster child for DEI and gender madness. This has led to government. Mr. Chairman, this is not a concert. This audience can just settle down.
Stop the clock, and the gentlelady's right. Under the rules of the House, the chairman is responsible for maintaining order and preserving decorum in the committee room. I expect audience members to be respectful of the committee, so
I'd like to reclaim my time, too,
Mr.
Chairman.
Absolutely. Ms.
This has led to government-sanctioned racial discrimination and the erasure of women. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 provides Congress plenary authority over the District of Columbia. Using this authority today, I'll be introducing the No DEI in D.C. Act. This bill will rip the DEI and gender bender nonsense out of the D.C. government root and branch and restore common sense and equal treatment under the law. As the individuals charged with writing D.C. laws, signing D.C. laws, and enforcing D.C.'s laws, we have some questions for you on the meanings of some of the curious terms we have found in the D.C. Code. My first question for Mayor Bowser, it's yes or no. The D.C. Code makes numerous references to, quote, structural or institutional racism. Do you believe the D.C. government is structurally or institutionally racist? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Wow. Just wow. Do you guys see that? That was Rep. Nancy Mace absolutely taking the mayor of D.C. to school. I've got to tell you, it is so incredibly refreshing to see a representative actually show up to a hearing prepared with the receipts. She wasn't just throwing out talking points, she was reading the district's own laws back to them, and the mayor looked completely lost. In my opinion, what we're seeing here is a perfect example of why so many Americans feel disconnected from their local and federal governments. We have leaders who sign off on these massive, woke policy changes and use this crazy language like birthing people. But when they're actually asked to explain it or defend it under oath, they fold. Nancy Mace is doing exactly what she was sent to D.C. to do: hold the DEI machine accountable and bring some common sense back to the table. She's calling out the erasure of women and the insanity of race-based policy, and she's doing it with a level of backbone we don't see enough of in Congress. I want to dive deep into the rest of this exchange because it only gets more intense from here. But before we get into the main breakdown, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. We need to get these clips out there so people can see what's actually happening in these committee rooms. Also, let me know in the comments, do you think birthing people is an acceptable term for the government to use? Or is Nancy Mace right to call it gender madness? Let's get into the full video.
Is D.C. government racist, institutionally racist, yes or no? All right, you can't answer the question. So my next question for Mayor Bowser, since you're going to sit there and placate or just be quiet, in Section 7-1234.02 of D.C. Code, you use the phrase child welfare involved birthing people. Child welfare involved birthing people. Can you explain to me what this means?
I'm not that familiar with that part of the code.
Okay, and so you don't know. In Section 7-1234.02 of D.C. Code, you use the phrase justice involved incarcerated and homeless birthing people and their non-birthing partners. Can you explain to this committee what that means?
Again, I would have to see the whole section.
You don't know. You're literally the mayor of D.C. and you don't know your own code of laws.
Well, I don't know.
All right,
them
one thing we
verbatim.
noticed the D.C. Code struggles to define is the term woman. So Mayor Bowser, what is a woman?
I'm a woman. Are you a woman?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I'm a woman. You're looking at one.
Okay, good. You actually, in Section 3-703 of the D.C. Code, you use the phrase, the intersectionality of gender and race to create unique dynamics and effects. Can you explain what this means to the committee?
Where is that, ma'am?
Section 3-703 of the D.C. Code. Do you know what that means? No, you don't know what that means. So Chapter 14D of the D.C. Code establishes the commission.
Chairman, I'm happy to answer questions.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to reclaim my time. This is not her time, it's my time. You can be quiet as I ask you questions, and then you can answer them. And then you can answer them. I'm not, Mr. Chairman, this is my time, not hers. I'd like to reclaim my time.
Let's make good use of the time, Ms.
Chair
Mace.
I'm making very good use
Chair
of my
recognizes
time.
Ms.
There
Mace.
And you're
is-
Ms. Mace
making
has
my
the
point.
floor.
You're the mayor of DC and you don't even know your own code of laws. What is a birthing person?
I would assume it's someone who gives birth.
All right. Why don't you use, are these women? Are these moms? Do you think it's appropriate to call them birthing person? Can a man birth a person?
Well,
Be a
that's
birthing
what I
person?
would call it, but I don't write all the laws, and I'm not familiar with every
Can
section.
men get pregnant?
No.
Can men become women?
Can a man become a woman?
Yeah. Can a man become a woman?
Miss
Yes
Mace,
or no? Can a man become a woman? Yes or no?
Miss Mace, I'm not here
Okay,
to
my
talk
next
about
question,
that.
Chapter 14D of the DC Code establishes the Commission on Reparations and a reparations fund to provide eligible African Americans monetary reparations or other forms of redress. Is it the position of DC government benefits should be provided to individuals on the basis of race?
I believe that the legislation requires a study.
Okay, I'm asking you, is it the position of the DC government that government benefits should be provided on the basis of race?
If you're
is the
referring to
question.
that legislation, I believe it requires a study.
Okay, I'm asking you a question. Do you believe that government benefits should be given out on the basis of race? That is the question. This is the third time I'm asking.
We have any number of benefits programs, and eligibility is
Okay.
established.
You're not answering
per-
any of these
per program.
questions. I'll give it to you. You're slick. In Section 2-1383 of the DC Code, you use the phrase social value of the LGBTQ community business economy to the district. Can you explain what this means to the committee?
It means that LGBT businesses provide economic benefit to the district's economy.
Do you think all businesses provide economic benefit to the DC economy?
They should, or they would be out of business.
Yeah, of course. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you. Chair recognizes
Okay, now that we've seen the whole thing, can we just talk about how masterfully Nancy Mace handled that? First off, let's talk about the decorum moment at the beginning. The audience starts acting up, basically trying to treat a congressional hearing like a concert or a rally, and Mace doesn't skip a beat. She knows the rules, she demands order, and she reclaims her time. That sets the tone right there. She wasn't there to play games, she was there to get answers. The most shocking part of this entire video for me is Mayor Bowser's lack of knowledge about her own city's code. Nancy Mace is literally quoting the DC Code, Section 7-1234-02, and the mayor of the city says, "I'm not familiar with that." How is that possible? You're the mayor. You sign these things into law, or at the very least, you're the one overseeing the departments enforcing them. If Mace hadn't brought the actual text to the hearing, Bowser probably would have tried to claim those terms weren't even in there. Mace caught her red-handed. And then we get to the what is a woman question. This has become a bit of a litmus test in politics lately, but look at how Mace uses it. She's pointing out the total contradiction in the DC government. On one hand, the mayor says, "I'm a woman, you're looking at one." But on the other hand, the laws she oversees are scrubbed of the word mother and replaced with birthing people or non-birthing partners. Mace is making a vital point here. You can't have it both ways. You can't claim to support women while simultaneously erasing the very definition of womanhood from your legal books. I also loved how Mace didn't let her off the hook on the reparations and race-based benefits questions. When she asked if benefits should be given out based on race, Bowser tried to do the typical politician word salad move by talking about studies and eligibility. Mace saw right through it. She kept the pressure on because the answer should be simple. In America, we should be treated as individuals, not as members of racial groups when it comes to government checks. Mace's No DEI in DC Act sounds like exactly the kind of root and branch cleaning that the district needs. If the leadership in DC can't even define what a woman is or explain why they are using terms like birthing people in their own legal code, then they've lost the plot. Bottom line, Nancy Mace was sharp, she was aggressive, and most importantly, she was right. She exposed the fact that this gender bender nonsense, as she called it, isn't just a Twitter debate. It's being written into the actual laws that govern our nation's capital. We need more representatives who aren't afraid to be un-PC to get to the truth. Mace won this round by a landslide. She had the facts, she had the code, and she had the common sense. What did you guys think? Did the mayor's answer satisfy you? Or do you think Mace exposed a major problem? Let's talk about it in the comments.